Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Brian of Hesses County, and I'm glad you could join me again today. Today, we're going to be continuing our series, our actual play series of the game Lineage, following the family of the Kinning, right? So, last time we started off with our first monarch. We had Kinberg the Broken, um, and they had one heir named Aelfwynn, who is going to be the primary monarch we're going to be taking a look at today. Just to recap some of the things that happened last time, we decided that our monarch was going to be the ruler of a small kingdom that was part of a collection of other kingdoms that all have a similar cultural background, modeled off of the Anglo-Saxon heptarchy. Um, and during the rule of Kinberg here, they came to power rather not necessarily peacefully, but at least like they were showing sort of kindness, pardoning other nobles and things that had originally opposed them, but now we're kind of going along with them. Um, one of their neighboring kingdoms demanded some land that they had owned due to some, ancestral claim to it, and they resisted. During the course of the war, they Kinberg, according to legend at least, Kinberg found a badger in the woods as they were riding off to war, and the badger ended up bringing him to some sort of mineral deposit um, that the kingdom was able to exploit and gain some significant wealth from. Unfortunately, Kinberg was killed as a result of a mine collapse, and while inspecting one of these mines that had been set up like during or maybe after the war that had occurred to kind of defend this land that these mineral deposits were found in. So today, as I said, we're going to be taking a look at Aelfwynn, the child of Kinberg. So again, as normal in Lineage, we start off by rolling to determine exactly what the epithet, the nickname that this monarch is going to be known for in the future. So again, I have 2d6. We're going to go ahead and roll on our table here, and we have a 3 and a 5. So there it is. Okay, 3 and 5. The farmer. So Aelfwynn the Farmer. That's interesting. Okay, now it is time to roll for our spouse. So here we go. We have two fours. So we have another foreign spouse. This time we have a foreign noble known for their intrigue skills. There we go. A foreign noble known from a house known for their intrigue, but we need a name. I'm going to say that this is probably from another one of the kingdoms. That's part of the sort of cultural sphere, so we're going to be using an Anglo-Saxon name to kind of fit the theme. So I'm going to roll on my name table that we created, and I have a 12. So we have Earfordhild. Alrighty. So, ready? Here's our next step. We need to determine the number of heirs which we are going to need. Nope, you should be... There we go. Alright, here we go. So again, we rolled 2d6, then we subtract 1d6. So our 2d6 roll is 9. We're going to subtract 6 from that, so we have 3 heirs this time. Okay, that should do it. And later, when we start forming cadet branches and stuff like that into these houses, I am going to be using different colors to kind of make it a bit easier to figure out what's where. And if our dynasty gets too big to kind of fit on one screen, I'm going to make another slide that we can kind of use for that. Should we go ahead and name them? Yes, let's go ahead and name our heirs. So for our first one, we're just going to go ahead and name them Kinberg. Let's say we're just continuing the We're just continuing the family trend. And then for the other two, we'll go ahead and roll, at least for the first one. We have a 6. Wasa. I always like that name, Wasa. And then for, oh, let's go ahead and roll another one. Our next one is we rolled a 10, but 10 was Kinberg, so we already have that one. Let's try again. We rolled an 11, so that one's Lifteg, which I believe means something along the lines of friendly day. Leof means like to like or love or friend or something along those lines. And then Dag is the word for day. And again, that should be one of those AE characters stuck together there. Okay. So we have our heirs, Kumberg, Wasa, and Leofdeg. Now, again, we need to roll for the number of our historic events. We roll 1d6. We only rolled a 1. Oh my. Something tells me Aelfwynn wasn't a monarch for very long. Alrighty, what is our one event today? Again, we're going to be rolling on the rise table. We have 2 6s. All right, our first thing, our one and only thing, says, a great project is undertaken which will transform the lives of many. It may take several generations to complete. So a great project is begun. All right, before I decide exactly what this great project is, I already have a basic idea of what it's going to be, seeing as that we are known as the farmer. But I'm going to go ahead and roll the death event, because that might also help decide why we were known as the farmer. And we have rolled a 4 and a 3. The death event for the 4 and 3 would be an accident. Now, this particular death event does add to our instability over here. So we're going to add 1 to that. So something happened that resulted in essentially basically the assassination of our character. Aha. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So, Aelfwynn the Farmer is known as the farmer because they initiated a project, basically an irrigation project. And this irrigation, part of this is an irrigation project with the idea of, like, getting water into farmland and all that stuff. But for those of you who might not necessarily be familiar with, if we take a look at the map over here, with this area over here, where East Anglia is, there's lots and lots and lots of marshlands or fens over there. So one thing that happened at one point in history, much later, mind you, was the draining of the fens, where they actually created a bunch of sort of irrigation systems, not with the idea of putting water in, but rather pulling water out of the sort of moorlands and the marshlands, so that then they could start using it for other things. So maybe we started a great irrigation project to improve farmland. It would help if I could spell. To improve farmland and drain marshes. All right, and then the accident that happened. All right, so we married Aelfwynn, who's from a foreign noble house. So how about we say that our monarch died as a result of a disgruntled member of the family. So a disgruntled member of our wife's family arranged our death, but the question is, how did we actually die? What was the accident staged to look like? I'm gonna roll again on the death chart. Maybe that'll help us kind of figure out what happened. Okay, I rolled a 3 and a 2. The 3 and the 2 says betrayal. That didn't help. Okay, let's try again. A drunken brawl. Ah! Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So the event that we rolled, the second event that we rolled to try to give us an idea of how this might work was a drunken brawl. So I'm thinking maybe what happened is the family members staged a fight. At a feast where there was, of course, lots of drinking, right? And accidentally killed Aelfwynn when Aelfwynn tried to intervene. All right, so basically, what I've kind of decided is that, yeah, we have a disgruntled member of our wife's family basically arranged Aelfwynn's death. What they did was they staged a fight at a feast that Aelfwynn was holding. Um, and the fight started between this family member who wanted to kill Aelfwynn and someone else who was probably working with them. And they were pretending to be drunk, and they started fighting with each other. And then when Aelfwynn, being the lord of the lord of the hall, has to do something. They tried to sort of like step in and intervene, and then as a result, they ended up killing Aelfwynn. So that it would look like an accident, and so that Aelfwynn would look noble and sort of was trying to do their job as lord, and it would look like an accident. Probably the family member would have been shamed for a while, and maybe the wife's family would have needed to pay a blood due or something like that, if we're going to say that these people have a if we're saying that our kingdom sort of has an Anglo-Saxon culture, there probably would have been like a blood payment that they needed to do, but it probably wouldn't have resulted in like an execution or anything like that. But anyway, so yeah, they're staged a fight. They kill Aelfwynn as a result of that fight when Aelfwynn tries to step in to stop the fight, and then the real question is does that affect who becomes the next monarch? Because if we're just going to go with firstborn for all of these, our next monarch would technically be Kinberg, right? Kinberg the second, I guess. But what if, as a sort of part of that fight, a different heir ends up becoming monarch? What if it's not Kinberg? What if it ends up being like Leofdag or Wasa? I think for now I'll go ahead and say it's no, yes, we'll say that's what happened, right? So the assassination results in Wasa becoming monarch. Oh, Kinberg was involved in the fight. Maybe Kinberg was the one who landed the killing blow. Maybe the family member staged basically goaded Kinberg into fighting him or them. Aelfwynn intervenes, and then the person who Kinberg is fighting with ends up basically making Kinberg kill his father. Yes, yes, I love. Well, I don't love this. I mean, this is a horrible thing, but you know what I mean. So this is not only just the assassination of a monarch by accident, right? But it's also like basically framing the most likely heir so that it would pass over to Wasa. So I'm guessing Wasa might not have known what was going on. I'm gonna change the color of this Kinberg's thing to tell us that they were exiled. Maybe, yeah. Let's do this sort of dark. Whoops. Let's do this sort of dark browny orange color put underneath it exiled for kinslaying. Well, the rule of Aelfwynn was certainly short but very dramatic, and also because of this project, could potentially hold a lot of promise for the future. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think we really have enough time for another monarch after this. I don't think we have time to kind of finish the continue with the reign of Wasa. So we'll have to come back to the House of Kun. We'll have to come back to the House of Kuning later. I hope you all enjoyed this second episode of our Lineage actual play, and that you'll hopefully join us again next time. Again, if you want to potentially take a look at this new version of the game of Lineage, the Epoch version, you can find links to it, of course, in the doobly-doo down below. Finally, if you wish to keep an eye on what all I'm doing on all of my different platforms that I've been making stuff for, you can take a look at my Twitter, which is pretty much the only social media I use these days, at Hesan Young, Hesan underscore Young D, and through that you can find the newsletters that I just started making a couple weeks ago that will show things like this video and new games or game updates and things that I've been doing and posts for the blog. So that's a great way to kind of follow everything that's going on in the county, let's say. Thank you all for joining me today, and I hope you have a good zone.